Now let's get talking now. Charles, good morning. Glad to have you join me on the program today.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
All right, now let's get talking now. By May the 1st, we will be experiencing another Labor Day. It's a day set aside for workers across the globe to be celebrated. But coming down here now, coming home now, our own workers under the auspices of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress are saying that calling on the federal government being led by President Bola Tinubu to announce a new minimum wage on May the 1st, 2024. That's on one hand. And secondly, they are making a very demanding package for as a new minimum wage. They are calling on the federal government to consider their plight based on the removal of fuel subsidy, based on the standard of living in the country driven by hyperinflation, to consider 615,000 naira as the new minimum wage in the country. Charles, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. Do you think this is feasible? Do you think the federal government and even the state government at the sub-national level have the capacity to go by the demand of the NLC? Remember that the 30,000 naira minimum wage that was agreed on some years ago is still not being implemented by some state governments. But looking at all that we have right now and all that is this current administration is being faced with, do you think that 615,000 naira as new minimum wage is feasible in Nigeria of today?
Wow, blessed. It's quite a but let me ask you the first one of them. Labor appealing to government to say Workers' Day, which we're expecting, is like Christmas Day for workers.
Yes.
I agree with the workers, yes, because all of us are workers one way or the other.
Very true.
Yes, and everybody sees the Workers' Day as a Christmas Day for workers. I agree with that. And government should release or unveil the new minimum wage. I think that is perfectly okay, because this day is being celebrated all over the world, not only Nigeria. So for us to be globally competitive, we need to do what other labor unions and the government are doing. Now, on to the question of whether the 616,000 naira minimum wage for the average Nigerian worker, when the 30,000 has not even been implemented in some states, you can see a very mixed story there. Yes, again, for me, I think with the recent economic country, the inflation of the river, and so many other macroeconomic headwinds, yes, Labour has the right to ask for a review of their basic minimum wage. We saw that done some more than 10 years ago, and it is due for another review. So, whether the amount to be paid to me is not even the issue, but there needs to be a review. There needs to be a review. And looking at all the calculation, this is the minimum. Some states are actually even pay more. Not as we had before, the 30,000, some states are even pay more, while some cannot even pay that 30,000. Now, the issue here now is each of these states government. If you look at the governors, their deputies, their speaker, House of Assembly members, you can see that what they take home compared to the average workers, something else is share of wickedness. If you cannot even pay 30,000 naira up till now, and prices of food items have gone so high, then you are calling for chaos. It is no longer possible. That is the reality. So it is the time for all the people to go back to the Bible and see that they generate internally generated income for themselves, so that they can pay the average Nigerian in their state. And if they feel that they don't have enough money, they should cut down the cost of governor. What is there if the governor, deputy, and all the members of their state houses of assembly also say we are reducing our own salary by over 50%, so that they can have some money saved to pay workers? Because these workers are the engine of the society. These workers are the ones that are doing everything. So it is fair to pay them something reasonable. Now, I know that a state like the River State, maybe Lagos State, can obviously pay this 615,000 if the government has that will to see that they cut a lot of leakages in their revenue generation. At the same time, they reduce the cost of governance. We are not saying the workers should be paid so much high amount of money. They're looking at the reality. How much is the point which they are taking? It gives room for a lot of malpractices in the civil service. And that's why today, I'm not justifying this, we are seeing a lot of malpractices in the civil service. People don't want to do their work, a lot of bribery, and of course, we even see that it's like even the civil service has already collapsed. But for the private sector, yes, I know that things are really difficult for them. But if the government is able to carry out some of their policies, and you make the business environment good for them, conducive for them, then they can be in the country, they can do business, and they can pay a reasonable wage to their workers. So for me, yes, one will say labor demand is so high, but if you look at that figure, if you look at it very well, I only believe if I have to negotiate on behalf of government, I will negotiate with the labor union, all people that's okay, let us even bring it down, and let's bring it to 500,000. So that as time goes on, everybody will see that they can come for another review. But for now, I think 500,000 is my personal opinion. So government and labor should not come to a compromise and say this is what we can afford to pay. And it should be made a law, because those things that cannot, this is the minimum. They should be able to pay as long as they don't just fold their hands and just believe that they go to Abuja and collect a contract. This is the time they have to think outside the box. Because if you assume and you say you want to be a state governor, you want to serve the people, then you must have all the wherewithal with all your assistants to ensure that you generate enough money to sustain the government, and also have a lot to make your state to attract a lot of investment that will come to your state. And of course, you see economic progress all over the country.
All right, Charles, thank you so much for that deep insight. You really went deeper than I expected. It shows you have so much passion for the Nigerian workers. But you made a very critical and valid point. Now, I really want us to touch on it bit by bit as we give this particular subject matter more facelift now. You did make mention of the fact that even if the state government or the federal government cannot afford to pay the proposed 15,000 naira by labor, they should consider, according to your own opinion, 500,000 naira. Now, the issue concerning minimum wage in Nigeria, I want to ask you this question. 2-in-1 question. First, do you even think that even if labor decide to beat down the proposed figure to about 200 or even 300, even as low as 100, do you think that the federal government and even governments at the subnational level will be willing to make the payment? And then again, the issue of minimum wage now, is it as a result of current economic reality or as a result of lack of political will to enforce and to implement this? Like you rightly say, some states are yet to even attract foreign direct investments in a whole year. So how do you think they can generate that revenue to meet the needs of the workforce under their administration?
Yes, let me start with this last question. You remind me for your first question. For you to get a productive workforce, it must be remunerated appropriately. If you pay pennies, you will get monkeys working for you. For a productive workforce, they must be satisfied, not only in terms of their working condition, but what they take home. I call that hygiene factor, because not a motivator. That's money. They must be satisfied that this is the work they have done. And also, the government should ensure that workers actually putting their best. Because when the civil service is properly run, you will see that government businesses will move faster. Then that will translate to the private sector in that state. Maybe I come to a state as a foreign investor, I want to do this, I want to do that. All those paperwork will be done as quickly as possible. To pay. But the issue there is most of these chief executives have become so lazy. How can you say for a whole 1 year you cannot attract any meaningful and profitable business to your state? We are saying government has no business being in government, but you must provide the enabling authority. When I'm talking of foreign direct investment. We're talking of even local businessmen to do business in your state. That can also go a long way. And in terms of your revenue collection, they should prepare a lot of leakages. Once you have done all that and becomes more creative, there are a lot of natural resources in each of these states. Now, why can't you annex this state and engage with federal government as to the legalities as to how you can make use of your own mineral resources and begin to generate funds for your states after you have sought out the legal issues with federal government? So this executive should go back to their state and see how they can annex the potential in terms of natural resources in their states.